On the morning of April 10th, 2001, a house exploded in a quiet Scottsdale, Arizona neighborhood. Firefighters rushed to the scene, expecting a tragic accident. Inside, they found 3 bodies. Their father was nowhere to be found. Over 2 decades later, he still hasn't been. This is the story of Robert Fisher, one of the FBI's most enduring fugitives, the family he's accused of destroying, and the mystery of where he's been hiding for more than 20 years. Robert Fisher lived what appeared from the outside to be an ordinary suburban life with his wife Mary and their 2 children, 12-year-old Brittany and 10-year-old Bobby. He worked as a surgical technician and respiratory therapist, skilled and capable, the kind of neighbor most people barely noticed, unremarkable in every visible way. But according to investigators, that ordinary surface was already cracking. Mary had begun quietly planning to leave her husband, confiding in friends and family that the marriage was over. Fisher, whose own childhood had reportedly been shaped by his parents' painful divorce, allegedly could not accept his own family being torn apart the same way he had once experienced it himself. In the early morning hours of April 10th, investigators believe Fisher entered his family's bedrooms while they slept, then, before leaving the house entirely, turned his attention to the home's natural gas line, disconnecting it deliberately and methodically. Before walking out the door for the final time, Fisher allegedly spread flammable liquid throughout the house, then left a single lit candle burning behind him, a slow-burning trigger, carefully timed to give him hours to disappear before anyone realized exactly what had happened inside. Hours later, the resulting explosion tore through the house with tremendous force and set it ablaze. An act investigators believe was deliberately designed to destroy any physical evidence, and possibly to make the deaths appear like a tragic gas accident instead of what they actually were. Firefighters arrived to find the home already fully engulfed in flames. For a brief, unsettling moment, it nearly worked exactly as planned. Investigators initially suspected Fisher himself might have died in the blaze right alongside his family. If mysteries like this keep you hooked, hit subscribe now, because Hidden Origins uncovers a new one every week. As forensic teams carefully sifted through the smoldering wreckage, they ultimately found only 3 bodies. Mary had been shot once in the back of the head. Brittany and Bobby, according to the coroner's official findings, had both suffered fatal knife wounds before the fire ever started. Fisher's body was conspicuously not among them. Just days later, his truck, along with the family's dog, were discovered abandoned deep inside Tonto National Forest, roughly 100 miles northeast of the burned home, parked as if he'd simply walked away and never looked back. An experienced hunter and skilled outdoorsman, Fisher appeared to have deliberately vanished into the dense wilderness entirely on foot. An extensive coordinated manhunt combed the surrounding forest for any possible sign of him. They found absolutely nothing at all. No body, no abandoned campsite, no trace that he had ever set foot there beyond the truck itself. In 2002, Fisher was formally added to the FBI's 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list, remaining there for nearly 2 full decades, one of the longest continuous placements in the entire history of that list. Thousands of tips poured in over the years that followed, reported sightings scattered across the country and even internationally in places as far-flung as Costa Rica, France, and the Netherlands. Not a single one has ever been definitively confirmed. In 2021, Fisher was quietly removed from the top 10 list, not because investigators considered the case cold, but because FBI policy prioritizes keeping fugitives on the list whose active pursuit would most benefit from continued public attention. He remains, to this day, formally and actively wanted. Investigators continue to debate a single central question that has never been answered, and may never be: did Robert Fisher successfully build an entirely new life somewhere, hiding in plain sight for over 2 decades? Or did the very wilderness he vanished into that morning ultimately claim him too? His remains simply never found, scattered somewhere in a forest that never gave up its secret? Subscribe to Hidden Origins, because some fugitives are never caught, and some questions are simply never meant to be answered.